Hello, gamers. Happy 10 years and 1 month anniversary of N++. This is the first episode in a monthly series that will hopefully conclude in my 100% completion of N++, including the new 10++ content. If you don't know, N++ is one of the hardest 2D platformers ever made, on average taking nearly 1,000 hours to fully complete. If I manage to complete it, it will be one of my hardest completions and the longest grind I have spent on a single game. This is the first month's progress, which compiles 130 hours of gameplay starting from a fresh save file, and a total playtime of 205 hours. This time was mainly spent in two categories: getting all the gold in the 3 main single-player tabs, and completing half of the challenges in the N++ tab. This video will catalog the hardest levels I completed in chronological order, starting with all gold in the N++ tab. Overall, I think that the N++ tab was the most interesting tab to get all the gold in, with a manageable average difficulty of level while still having some of the hardest all gold levels in the game. The two hardest levels in the tab were Championship Lode Runner and Go Fish. Lode Runner was my choice for hardest golden level, with an attempt count of 2 out of 378. It consists of nearly 3 minutes of dodging a missile that will always be right on top of you. Much of the gold in this level required me to find specific setups that guide the missile away, as there is no room to even dodge the missile in much of the level. It is a fitting final level for the tab, but it was not the final level I played for golden. That level would be Go Fish, which is often cited as the hardest golden level in the entire game, but I didn't really get the hype. It definitely is a very hard level, it's long and it requires a bunch of precise jumps. However, I didn't struggle on it as much as other levels. It only had an attempt count of 3 out of 229, which includes a rebeat of the level because I didn't record it the first time. The next tab I tackled in the golden grind was Legacy, and I'm not really a fan of this tab. Many of the levels are not that interesting, and it was overall the easiest tab to get all the gold in. At least has some interesting bosses to mention. One of those is Around the World in 80 Ways, which had an attempt count of 1 out of 316. It is a level where Gossaros really get to shine. 2 of them fire at you while you only have a few bounce blocks to platform on. On top of that, some of the gold is placed in very annoying spots. Robot Heaven was the hardest level in this tab for me. Chaser drones are a pretty neglected mechanic in this game, and only a few levels really utilize them much. In this level, they take center stage. They act very unpredictably and are hard to dodge because the level is mostly bounce blocks. It was made much less painful by gathering all the gold on the inside immediately and then hiding in the drone's blind spots. Another level that deserves a shout out is Pinnacle because it is unlike any other level required for golden, especially within the Legacy tab. It feels much more like a challenge for a level in the N++ tab, just replace the gold in the corner with a toggle mine. The Ultimate tab was the last tab I completed for golden, and I was kinda disappointed in this tab, as although it had the highest average difficulty of levels, it did not have many interesting bosses. The hardest level in this tab for me was Fleeting Opportunities with an attempt count of 2 out of 265. Another level that shows how difficult Gossaros can be in the right scenario. It becomes very difficult to dodge some of the shots while all of the drones are in the way. The final corridor is incredibly difficult due to the density of drones and how going up from the previous corridor usually creates the prime opportunity to get shot. The final level in the entire Golden Grind was Destroyer of Worlds, which took 1 out of 126 attempts. There's a lot going on in this level, but none of it individually is really too bad. The hardest part was dodging the missiles at the top of the level, given only a couple of bounce blocks, and the mini drones patrolling the few safe spots from the missile. The ending wasn't too bad, but it's easily chokeable. That concludes the Golden Achievement, and from here I started working towards challenges in the N++ tab. And despite beating a lot less levels compared to Golden, this section contains by far the hardest levels I played this month. I fully completed 3 rows of the tab, A, B, and D. The A row of the N++ tab is practically an extension of the intro tab, and many of the levels don't have much going on. With that said, how are these levels turned into difficult challenges? The answer is that the precision is turned all the way up. Levels like Mind-Altering Substance, Datacreech, Presumer, and of course, Irritable Level Syndrome. Datacreech and Presumer both have the gimmick of collecting something that is right on top of instant death. There is only a small window that is able to successfully collect the gold or switches that don't end the run. Of these two, I found Presumer to be much harder because of the middle top gold. The final level in this row is Irritable Level Syndrome, and that name is quite an understatement. I would say Presumer is irritable, but this level is straight up disastrous. It is by far the hardest level I have played in the game, maybe even the hardest level in a platformer I have played. It took a staggering 58 out of 1784 attempts. Every single jump in this level is brutally precise, requiring the utmost consistency. It did not help that the strategy I used for the ending is awful, with around 7 attempts dying to the final jump. The level is just straight up evil. Following this, the B row was pretty easy and didn't have much to talk about, but the D row did have a few very difficult challenges and it was a very enjoyable row. Stratagem was the hardest in this row, being the second hardest level I've played this month with 6 out of 775 attempts. This level is a perfect example of a challenge in N++. Getting all the gold in this level is not too bad. All the gold is in pretty easy to reach positions, but in the T++ G-, challenge, that same gold is turned into devilishly placed obstacles, and collecting all of the mines involves weaving through all that gold while simultaneously dodging a missile. It can be very annoying because of the bounce blocks, but it is a very satisfying level to play. Another incredible level in the D row was Super Complexity, which took 3 out of 251 attempts. I expected this level to be very annoying because it focuses heavily on timing, cycles, and routing, but it turned out to be very fluid and enjoyable. The only things I somewhat dislike about this level is the turnaround inside a booster and the missile section, which are both a bit overly precise in my opinion. However, timing everything with the drones is surprisingly fun and rewarding. That is practically all the progress I have made in the first month of this grind. I also completed the first half of Legacy Hardcore Stories, but most of that was pretty boring and not really worth talking about. My goals for this upcoming month are 1. Complete all the challenges in the N++ tab. This might be a bit of a stress, but it'll be interesting to see all the hardest levels in this tab. 2 is complete 20 hardcore stories deathless, including finishing all of the legacy tab stories. And 3, if I have time, I'll start working towards all the gold in the question mark tab. I hope you enjoy this video. It's the first time I've made a video that is not just a straight footage dump, but if you are interested, I have linked a video in the description that includes all the raw footage of levels I mentioned in this video and some more that I did not mention.